Welcome, everyone, to the White Rabbit Podcast. I'm your co-host, Matt Kraus, coming to you from Bandırma, Turkey. Your other co-host, Alpa Rosanis, is traveling and could not join us today. So today it is just our guest and me. And the guest today is Lyuba Levchuk, the current president of Istanbul Toastmasters. And as many of you know, Alper and I are both previous presidents of Istanbul Toastmasters. So it's a real pleasure to have the current president of the club on the podcast today. So Lyuba, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on the show and say hi to everybody.
Yeah. Hello, guys, and thank you, Matt, for inviting me. That's
Our
such
pleasure.
an exciting opportunity for me.
Thanks for coming today. So our main topic today, which we'll get to in a moment, is going to be getting over, or at least getting past, the fear of speaking in public. But before we dive into that, let me introduce our guest a bit. Lyuba is originally from Kazakhstan, and she has been here in Turkey for about 6 years. She's a business trainer specializing in training people in the skills of emotional intelligence, leadership, communication, and as I mentioned, she is also the current president of Istanbul Toastmasters. If you are not already familiar with Toastmasters, it's a worldwide network of public speaking clubs. If you want to become a better public speaker, whether you are brand new to public speaking or a seasoned pro who has been doing this for years, Toastmasters is the place to be. And as I so often say to just about anyone with a pulse, get thee to a Toastmasters club. Anyway, Lyuba, help me out here. Is there anything in that intro that I missed that our guests should know about you?
No, everything is great. Yeah,
Okay.
everything is
And
right.
excellent. And one more thing before we get started. Lyuba, if our listeners want to get in touch with you after the podcast, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn, Lyuba Levchuk, or the same Instagram. If you want to connect on Instagram, that would be great as well.
Okay. And on to our topic for today, which is getting over, or at least getting past. And the reason that I say getting past is because often people don't actually ever reach the state where they're not afraid of public speaking. So that's why I keep saying getting past. Okay, so our main topic for today is getting past your fear of speaking in public. And that seems to be pretty common. I've seen that fear in just about every person that I've run into over the years. So to start us out, Lyuba, back us up a little bit and tell us your own story. Things like how you ended up in Istanbul, and especially how you found the Istanbul Toastmasters Club and how you ended up becoming its president.
Yeah, thank you very much, Matt, for this great question. So, as you already mentioned, originally I'm from Kazakhstan, and my public speaking journey probably started when I was 3. At the very beginning, when I was young, my mom, she was a master of ceremony, and she was leading weddings and different birthdays events. She was an event planner. So she would take me as a little girl to lead these events with her. So I was all scared and shaking, and but I took this challenge because my mom was next to me and I trusted her. So that was how it started. Later on, graduating from the university, I moved to the capital of Kazakhstan, to Astana, and I really wanted to do something that would help people develop personally and professionally. So I just was hired by one company who was doing trainings, and that's where my public speaking journey began. So I didn't know how really to present myself in front of the audience. I was always shaking and was thinking, oh, what would the audience think about me? They probably judging me or anything like that. So Later on, 2010, I was one of the founders of the Astana Toastmasters Club, the first Toastmasters club in Central Asia, I guess, but it was in Kazakhstan as well. So that was my journey. 2010, actually 15 years ago. I didn't realize it was such a long time ago. And for about 3 years, I was an active member of that club. Uh, yeah, sorry.
So you started out in Toastmasters in 2010. Has it been continuous since then, or did you take a break for a while?
I took a break for a while. I've been a member until 2013, and then I realized I had so much pressure at my work and everything, and too much public speaking, being at work and being at the club. So I took a break for quite a long time, actually. Yeah, and I joined Istanbul Toastmasters Club in 2024. I guess in February 2024.
So you've been in Istanbul for 6 years. Is that correct? It's been about 6 years, right?
Just a little correction. I've been in Istanbul for 4 years.
For
Yeah.
4 years. Okay. So
Uh,
you've been in Istanbul for 4 years. So, but you've been in Istanbul Toastmasters for about a year and a half. So
yeah.
there's some time there when you get to Istanbul before you find Istanbul Toastmasters. So take me back to that moment when you go to your first Istanbul Toastmasters meeting. What was it like going to that meeting for the very first time?
As I know, Istanbul Toastmasters is such an amazing place. It was started 2007, as I know it now, but at that time I didn't know. I felt like the guys were really exciting. It was a time when it was a competition, a club competition time.
Uh, uh,
So they actually introduced me and they said, would you like to be one of the judges of the competition um, that was going on inside of the club? And I was like, okay. Actually, I was a part of the judging committee in Kazakhstan for big competition before. So, and they shared, oh, I can do that. I did that before. So that was a great experience. I heard lots of encouraging speeches. And that's how it started. About a week later, I decided to join.
so so tell me more about this decision to join Istanbul Toastmasters. Um, so one thing that a lot of our listeners experience, for example, they'll be at work or whatever, and they'll be thinking, I would like to get better at public speaking, but there's a big gap between thinking I'd like to get better at public speaking and actually doing it, actually joining a club and practicing that skill. So how did you make that leap from thinking it might be a good idea to actually doing it? Tell me about that moment.
You mean in 2024?
Yeah,
Uh,
in 2024.
Honestly, I felt like, yeah, I've been working in the training industry for the last 10 years. I know some tricks, but I felt like, you know, I really need to think more about using my voice, getting more into the structure, and just just be there with people who are also learning and encourage each other. So I think that was like the push for me. That was so motivational for me, and that's why I decided to join again after 13 years of break.
And one thing another thing that our listeners come up against is that they're at work, they haven't joined a public speaking club yet. They know that it would be a good idea. They know that this is a skill that they need, but there are a lot of things competing for their attention. I mean, they've got to go home and make dinner for the kids and, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that. The regular life calls. And so somewhere you have to prioritize this developing this skill, and there has to be a good reason for it, developing the skill of public speaking. So if somebody is in the state and they're wondering, what am I going to get out of getting better at this skill? Is it going to help me in my career or something like that? What am I going to get out of this? So what do you tell them?
Um, Actually, we have many people who come with the same desires. They say, what do I get from this? I want to get better at my work. I want to get better at presenting something at my workplace. And even some managers or heads of the companies, they actually tell our members, our future members, to go to Istanbul Toastmasters Club and join it. So what we would usually tell them, you will get amazing community who would give you support, not just support, but also evaluation. We would grow together as one community. You will become better leader, more confident in whatever you speak, and you will just be more successful at your work because you know how to use the tricks that you learn at the Toastmasters Club at your workplace. You're not a boring speaker anymore. You can just get people's attention in just 3 seconds, and everyone
Okay.
is going to.
Good point. Good point. And okay, so I have recently joined a Toastmasters club, and I'm going to some of my first meetings, and I am scheduled to give a speech. This is my first speech, and I'm really nervous because I'm going to have to stand up in front of this group of people and talk, and that makes me nervous. And before the podcast, you mentioned to me a couple of the things that you personally like to do in order to ease that nervousness, or now after a while for you, it has morphed from nervousness to a much more positive excitement. But there are some things that you can do to bring that to a more manageable level, whether it's nervousness or excitement, whatever that emotion is. There are a couple things that you can do to bring that to a more manageable level. I think one of them that you mentioned to me was to script out your opening and also your closing. And also you mentioned a very interesting thing, I thought. You mentioned talking to some of your audience members beforehand. So let's dive into both of those. And let's start out with scripting out your opening. Tell us, why do you do that?
I mean, you need to know what you're going to tell. You need to
Uh-huh.
be confident. If you know your opening, you know question, you know maybe several statements that you're going to talk about, this is going to get the people's attention. They're going to start listening to you. They're going to be all into you, and they're going to trust you. You know, most of the people, they are fearful or excited. They have this stage fright, or they're excited. It's just because they think that the audience is going to judge them, or, oh, what will they say? I'm going to say something wrong. They will judge me. They will have some negative comments. But actually, that's not true. They really want you to be successful. The audience is excited to hear what you're going to say. And you, uh, after scripting your beginning and also the ending of your speech, you just set yourself for success. Because this is, I believe, the most interesting and important, crucial points in your speech. Your beginning, you set them to the direction that you want people to go to. And at the end, you encourage them for action. What action do you want the audience to take after your speech?
Yeah.
And this is the most important. If you don't know it, it's kind of going to be, I'm just here and there. I don't know how to end. Or you can just say, thank you. Hope my speech was great. Something like that.
Yeah. And that's a good point that you bring up about the audience wants to see you succeed, because one of the biggest fears that I hear people expressing is this fear that they are going to be judged, and that the audience is somehow going to be harsh. And that's a perfectly natural fear to have. I mean, humans are, after all, we're animals. And so if we're standing in front of a bunch of other animals and the animals are all staring at us, we're going to get scared. So it's completely natural to feel that fear. But
Yeah.
it's okay. They're not going to judge you. They want you to succeed. That's a very important thing to remember, is that your audience wants you to succeed. They're not going to judge you. And one of the other things that you mentioned is this thing about talking to some of the audience members before the speech. Tell me more about that, and why do you do that? And what benefits do you get out of it? And how do you initiate it? Stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm a really open person to talk to, so this is very natural for me. I believe for some people it might be even stressful when they know that they need to perform in 15 minutes, and to just come up to somebody and talk to it can be stressful. But I challenge people who are gonna speak to do that and try it. It actually eases you up. It just gives you peace and calms you down because you talk to people. You try to be natural with them. And that helps you to be natural at the stage. And I believe that if you connect with the people before your presentation, they will be even more looking at you and supporting you with their eye contact, with their smiles. You will feel this support and you will feel less frightened at this stage. And how would I do this? I mean, I would just come up to people and just say, welcome to the club. Or if you're doing a workshop or something, you can say, welcome to our workshop. And just introduce myself and just say, how did you come here? What brought you to this workshop or to this club, to our club? What are your desires? Do you want to grow in something? So it's just great. And then I maybe share a little bit about myself, why I joined the club or what I want to grow in. So it really creates such an amazing connection with the audience. When you get on the stage and you start your speech, everything is different. You know that in this room, you have at least 3, 4 people that you talk to that will be even more for you than the rest of the audience. They will
Yeah.
listen, they will look at you, they will smile, and you will feel more confident for sure.
I agree that this sounds like a really good idea to talk to some of the audience members beforehand, and it'll definitely help you understand your context and calm down a little bit. How about a situation where that's just not possible? So, like for example, it's possible at a Toastmasters meeting. There's time before the meeting starts. You get to walk around the room a bit, and you're sipping your coffee or whatever, and you chat up some of the new members, blah blah blah, or some of the guests or something like that. But let's say that you're at a board meeting, for example, or you're an agenda item at the board meeting, and you're sitting outside. You don't have a chance to walk around and sip coffee and chat with the board members beforehand. You're sitting out there in the waiting room, and then you get called in for your 15 minutes of fame in front of the board. So let's find a what are some alternative tips that we could give to people about how they could chat up or somehow chat up the audience or somehow reduce their nervousness in a situation like that where they don't have the opportunity to talk to the group beforehand.
hmm as I already mentioned, know what you're going to say at the
Hmm.
beginning. The second tip probably would be eye contact. Try to smile, not be nervous and like, oh, frightened. Try to just be easy to smile because when you smile, look in the eyes, that gives more confidence and trust. People start trusting you right
Yeah.
away.
uh
Also, as you know, our body language communicates 80% of the information. So use your hands. Try to open your hands, like when you stand, try to open your hands. That creates also trust and
hmm
openness to people. So I would
True.
just recommend that because that's what I do. When I talk about something, I usually use my hands.
Yeah.
And they will think that you are open to talk to them. They will start trusting you. They will start just getting to know you better and maybe even asking questions. Ask rhetorical question or um, somebody, and you will see maybe somebody will nod or something like that. Or ask a question that requires yes or no answer. Somebody will say yes or no, or how many people here love public speaking or are great leaders or something
Yeah.
like they're like,
So,
we are leaders.
one of the added benefits of this is that it makes your I would think that it makes your presentation a little bit more of a two-way conversation, which, is understandably more natural for people. So it turns instead of being a one-way communication, asking some questions of your audience, no matter how simple, kind of turns it into a two-way conversation. And this kind of touches on one of the main themes that we talk about on this podcast. And that main theme is knowing your audience. So, in addition to talking to the audience members beforehand or chatting them up during the presentation itself, what are some of the other ways that our listeners can, or what can they do to know their audience better? What do you think?
Yeah, I think like it depends on the audience that you're gonna talk to. So do your research before you go to speak somewhere.
Okay.
What are the people who gonna attend that gathering, that meeting that you're going to? Are they businessmen? Are they leaders? Are they doctors? I don't know. Are there construction builders
Yeah.
in oil and gas industry? uh, think about this, just like brainstorm what is my audience, what are they interested in. Maybe you can use some jokes about the interest. It's actually very sensitive topic. Jokes, better not to use that if you don't know very much your audience, but you can, yeah, but you can use some illustrations at least that relate to the audience that you are talking to. I usually think about that. So like before, when I just started my career in public speaking, I worked a lot with the students and I knew what the students are thinking about, what they're interested in. Now I work with working people, leaders, managers. It depends where I'm leading the trainings. So, and I think about them. What are they interested about?
Yeah.
Like at this stage of life or at this company, just research. Chat GPT, internet can help you a lot with that.
Uh, yeah. ChatGPT, a little basic research on ChatGPT or Google will go a long ways towards understanding who these
Yeah.
people are. And it doesn't take very much. You don't have to spend hours and hours going down a deep rabbit hole on every single member. So- okay. So before we wrap up, I have one more topic that I wanted to ask you about. And that is that a lot of people, in our world of presentation training, a lot of people say that they don't like to practice. They're worried that if I practice too much, I might sound wooden or rehearsed or something like that. And so they figure that their speeches are going to be better if they don't practice them at all. And I just wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on that? What do you tell people?
Honestly, there are 10 years of experience in trainings and public speaking. I still practice. And of course, I still feel excitement for about 30 seconds when I go on the stage. It's not exactly fear, but excitement inside, which goes away after 30 seconds. But practice is the key. I'm a president of Istanbul Toastmasters Club, and people might think, oh, you're a professional. I am not.
Uh-huh.
I'm also learning together with all the members. I'm not professional. It's a learning experience. And if you ask me, when I go to the stage to present my speech, like, do I just make the speech 15 minutes before the meeting? No,
Uh,
prepare. And I practice. I practice at least 5 times before going on stage. I practice either in front of my friend or in front of a mirror or by myself to myself and seeing where should I pause,
okay.
where should I use my voice, where should I use my body language or some props that I'm using. It practice is key. If you don't plan a pause or a word or emotional exclamation in your speech, your speech will be just flat. And you might be lost, actually, thinking just about the content.
Yeah. And
But
this advice or exhortation, I would say that it's more than just advice. It's really important. It's really important to practice beforehand like this. Um, I can see how in a scripted and known presentation or speech, you know what you're going to say, you know when you're going to need to pause, it's planned. So you kind of know what's going to happen ahead of time. But sometimes, whether it's through the way that you've designed it, or whether it's just because things have jumped off the track and now it's completely unplanned and unscripted and no one knows what's going on. Uh, so, what are some ways that people can practice for those situations? The situations, kind of like in Toastmasters, it would go by the name of table topics, where you don't know at any given moment what the next topic is going to be. So, what kind of advice would you have for people in that situation?
Probably, I usually, when the table topic session starts, I would probably repeat the question
Uh,
to the audience,
mm,
and then I would say why I agree with this or disagree, and then just wrap up.
that's a really good piece of advice. A really good way to buy time, and actually, asking the question again. Not only does it buy time, but it allows you to make this Q&A kind of it allows you, first of all, to make sure that you understand what this person has just asked, but it
Mm-hmm.
also allows you to kind of reinforce the fact that this Q&A session is a two-way conversation, because now, in order to confirm the question, you're going to have to talk directly to the person who obviously just asked the question. So it's going to have multiple benefits. Restating the question is going to have multiple benefits.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. But of course, impromptu speaking is a little challenging, can be a little challenging.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
but that's where we learn.
Uh,
Yeah. And we can just learn by doing. If we don't try it, we will never
uh,
learn.
yeah, true, true.
And I just want to say that in Toastmasters Club, we're not perfect. Some people come and think, oh, these guys are amazing. They're perfect. We're not perfect. We just want to be a little bit better than yesterday.
That's
Yeah.
I want to ask you more about that, and then we'll need to wrap up. But this thing about, if I go to a public speaking club like Toastmasters, and I'm sitting there and I'm all intimidated, thinking, "Wow, these people are perfect," but what's actually going on in their minds? Like, how are they actually not perfect?
Excuse me. How are they actually not
Yeah.
perfect?
Well, yeah. How are they not perfect? Because, me being a new member, I think these people are all perfect. And I was like, look at them. They know what's going on. But you just said that the, the
We're not.
Toastmasters are not perfect. So how are they not perfect?
We are in progress. We are learning. I'm sure everyone sitting at the Toastmasters Club, I mean, the members who the guests think they are perfect, the members, oh, they come to the stage, they facilitate the session, table topic, Toastmasters, evaluation sessions, but they have the same fears. We talk about this before session and they know what is going on through every head. We talk about this with the members and they're like, oh, I am feeling excitement or I'm a little bit concerned. Am I going to do well or not? But I'm just encouraging everyone. I just say, you're going to do great. And
Yeah.
if you have uh, any mistake or if you fail, that's okay. We're learning here. It's a process of learning.
Yeah.
We don't need to be perfect. We just try to be better than yesterday.
Yeah. And that's, we'll wrap up here in a second, but I just wanted to reinforce this point, is that as intimidating as it might be to go to your first public speaking club meeting, like your first Toastmasters meeting, as intimidating as it might be, it's going to be okay, and it's going to be more than okay. And almost every single, I haven't just been to Istanbul Toastmasters. I've been to probably at least 15 other clubs, and all of those clubs, they're very welcoming and they're very forgiving, and it's a, a lot of it. A lot of that forgiveness is for this reason, because They know that they're not perfect. Every single person in that room, even somebody who's been a Toastmaster for like 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
every single person in that room is there to get better. They're in that mindset. So you're not being judged.
Exactly.
So yeah, so let's wrap it up here. Before we wrap it up, I just wanted to thank you again, Luba, for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you very much for inviting me. That was really interesting to have this conversation. And I
Our
hope it
pleasure.
will be really useful and beneficial to people who are gonna listen to it.
Yeah. So okay, thank you for joining us, Luba, and Alper and I will be back in a few weeks or so with our next episode. All right, so take care and signing off for today. All right, thanks everybody. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Thank you.